What's going on, everyone? This is Stephen Place with Precision Volume Alerts, and today we're talking about how to read short-term price action at key levels that you've been watching. So what we have had over the past 2 weeks is a reasonable pullback. S&P's down 4%. A lot of tech stocks got absolutely walloped, and there are several names coming into massive levels. Now, when we have a lot of volatility and we have a lot of downside action, it's completely bidless out there. It's very difficult to just blindly buy a stock, blindly catch the knife into a level, because sometimes you'll see an overshoot. And a lot of the times that's what does happen. That first dip buy that everyone feels like they're a genius on is not the absolute low. And so those genius dip buyers get stopped out, and into that is when we see proper upside movement. A lot of times people call this a momentum divergence or something along those lines, where you get that swift move, a bounce, and then that lower low that really doesn't see any follow through is just flooding out the stops. So what I like to do when we're coming into a very important price level in a stock, I am zooming into a shorter term time frame to look for evidence that the tide is turning, that buyers are regaining control, that maybe we're seeing a couple stop outs on the short term traders to flush them out to allow longer term holders to get in. Those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. So I've got 2 live case studies that you can look at right now. So we're going to hop over really quick. This is a stock that we just picked up inside of PVA. Former momentum name, ran from $1 to 19, very strong move, put in a bit of a double top, and it trapped a lot of buyers, right? A lot of folks got stuck above about $15 a share. Now let me see if I can pull up a pen, and we're going to make it yellow. Over the past few weeks, there has been an attempt to hold some key levels where early dip buyers have been showing up right around here, and that one failed, and then we saw some downside price action, and this became the local low. Now, think of what you felt like into that. If you had bought that exact low, then you see this massive move higher, back up to about $13 a share. You're feeling like a genius, right? Maybe you take some profits, maybe you don't. But then all of a sudden the stock round trips, not necessarily because anything's wrong with the stock, but it's because the market sucks, right? And so it's just broad-based selling. And so we actually come back and we have a retest of this level, but we overtake that low, all right? And that's when you should start paying attention. Now, coming into today, the stock was actually very weak over a short-term period of time. And it actually came back and retested this anchored VWAP from the November 2020 lows. All right, and that's where we found aggressive initiative buyers. Okay, if you go back and you watch the previous video on anchored VWAPs, we've been looking at a lot of names, and I go into detail with it a little bit more. So what you do here, you zoom into shorter term price action. And what do we see right here? Let me pull up my pen again. We're going to make it yellow. Good. So over the past, let's just say week, all right, here's the beginning of December right here. And so at the end of November, we have 940 hold. 940, by the way, corresponds with a key low volume node right here that is crucially important. That's why we've been zooming in on it. So this holds and this holds. Everyone's feeling like a genius going into Friday, especially given the fact that the overall market was taking a giant dump and this stock was holding up very nicely right here. So this morning comes around, and we see a rug pull. I mean, it is just nasty, straight down. Anyone who is running stops just underneath these levels, guess what? They get taken out. And with this kind of move, it's not necessarily that you had a lot of people selling. It felt as though the bid was just completely pulled, that the HFTs and the algos and the funds and anyone else who wanted to buy the stock said, nope, we're just going to drop the bids, jam the stock lower, run all those stops, and all of a sudden you see a hard reversal. Those are the kinds of things I want to look for, because that indicates a change in character. It tells us that buyers are willing to pull those bids with the anticipation that they're going to buy in size at lower prices. So that tells me that there are hidden institutional other time frame buyers as we crack 940. That's the change in character. Now, is this the absolute low? We don't know. There's a lot of key levels coming into around 940, just above $9 that I think are very important and give us very good risk reward to the upside. But I didn't blindly buy that level. I said, okay, let's watch the price action, rug pull, failed breakdown, stop run, hard reversal. That's the signal. Okay, so we might see a little bit more back and fill right here, or the whole thing falls apart and I look like an idiot, but that's just the nature of the business. But if we were to see a push right here, all of a sudden, if you're buying at 9.5 and you see a move, because when you see a failed breakdown, odds are you're going to see a push to the other end of the range. You get a move to $13, that's real money. You put options on it, that's leveraged money, and that's a lot of real money. So that is absolutely one of those things you need to look for. Look for those key levels. Maybe there's an indicator or another level just underneath where support feels like it's going to hold. And if you get a rug pull into that and a hard reversal, that's going to be something to look at. And here's another one. This is one we haven't put on just yet, but I'm watching the short-term price action to see if it confirms. This is a tech stock that has been, it's been a tragedy, right? It had this nice breakout on earnings, and then it had a nasty breakdown on earnings. So we can call this pattern an island reversal. Okay, so there are and still are a lot of trapped buyers in those levels. That's one of the reasons why we couldn't sustain a bid on this stock, even though we were coming into some support and a volume shelf and some other things like that. So it continued to grind people into dust. Odds are you just needed more time and more of a shakeout for those buyers who came in above $70 a share to finally get smoked. And there was, and still is, a massive level at about 48.75. And support right here, little bit support just above that, okay? But, and I wanted to buy this. I really wanted to buy this stock as we touched that first touch into about $48 a share, but we really weren't seeing a whole lot of follow through, a lot of confirmation. And so I've been zoomed in on this. And we finally, in my opinion, have started to see a change in character. It's not guaranteed yet. The easiest trade is to say, okay, 51's a resistance level, 51 gets taken out, you buy it, and then you run a stop. Okay, so that's one way to do it. I'm trying to get a little bit of a better fill right here. But what do we have? Support, just a little bit above it. Here's some support. Then it takes it out, and this was on Friday, a little bit of a divergence Friday where it held its bid. It held its bid better than the overall market did, so some slight relative strength. And then what happens on Monday? We see this bid pull down into an anchored VWAP going back to a gap from last year, okay? And that was it was immediate, like just very aggressive initiative buying as we came into that. So bid gets taken out, stop run, hits another key level, hard reversal from there. And since then, it's been putting in some higher highs and higher lows, okay? Now, as it comes into about 48.75, we've got this pivot level and this pivot level. So that might come into play, but a little bit of a pullback right there would be a great place to enter this stock, okay? You have to, if you're going to try and get the best fills you can, you take your daily chart, you have your key levels. Once they're coming into them, you zoom in, you start looking at the price action. And it's not blindly following some kind of indicator or something like that. It's basically asking the question, are buyers regaining control finally? Are the institutions who really want this stock, are the institutions able to get the prices they want? And are the strong hands coming back in who are not feeling pressure to sell into any further rallies, because that's where the momentum comes in? Again, very similar setup right here. Other end of the range is about $57 with an initial entry around $48. That's real money. You throw some options on it with a little bit of leverage. That's a lot more real money involved. If you want to see these picks as well as what else is in our portfolio, I highly recommend you subscribe to Precision Volume Alerts. We don't just let anyone in. We want to make sure that you're trained, that you're indoctrinated, and you understand the approach that we do inside of PVA. So below this video is a webinar where you can get instant access to our training. Go through the training. At the end, you'll have a special offer where you can get access to our trade alerts and our training and our portfolio as well. So you can sign up there. Okay, I highly recommend you to do it. And that's all I got for today, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.